Yay. All right. Okay, we are live for day 4 of the 10-day CUNTY-fy Your Life challenge. Is it challenging? Are y'all feeling challenged yet? Tell me, because I know for me, I'm going through this challenge with you, okay? Like this is a challenge for me too, to commit to something every day and show up with energy and preparation and like authenticity and the gems, okay? Showing up with the gems and making sure that I am sharing the gems with you all. As much as I love also like catching up with y'all, I also have a lot of things to say. So I want to make sure we get to that because today is a big one. Today is about confidence. And if you heard on day 2 when I spoke about courage, it sounded like I was hating on confidence a little bit, but I wasn't. I was just giving confidence a little bit of like a timeout. Just wait, because courage had to be first. So if you want to go back and revisit that, that was day 2. But today, confidence gets to have its moment. Yay. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so thrilled to have you here in the challenge with me going through this. We're almost halfway there and let's get started. All right. So on day 2, I talked a little bit about how we can get mismatched in our energy and our nervous system if we follow the fake it until you make it wisdom. Okay. I mean, wisdom, I put wisdom in air quotes because I don't really subscribe to that, because I think if we force ourselves to fake it, and I think that kind of energy, it might trick people for a minute or even trick yourself for a minute, but I think it catches up with us, whether in the form of like imposter syndrome or self-doubt, or all of these things can come right back because our nervous system, we tried to go up here and we didn't do the work to bring our nervous system up with us. And that's what courage can really do. It can really help us work up instead of doing like a big leap that actually our nervous system wasn't ready for. So let me know if that resonates with you all. I know that confidence it's important, but I do want to acknowledge that it's different from fake it till you make it. I'd love to hear though your experience with like if you had a scenario where faking it till you make it did work out, or or it didn't. Please let me know if you have had an experience like that. But I think we need to be careful about that, right? I think we need to be super mindful that confidence doesn't just equal putting on an act. It's not an acting thing. It is like confidence is earned. I wrote this in my notes and I want to make sure that I put this very clearly. I think courage is enacted. I don't think confidence is enacted. I think courage is enacted because it's like action based. And I think confidence is earned by doing the actions and being courageous and showing up. I think that gives you and builds the confidence jar, right? So the way I like to think of confidence is like a bank account or like a jar, anything that you can think of that like can get filled up, and it can be abundant, it can be beautiful. It's like this wellspring that we actually need to feed and pour into. It's not something that we can just like pull out of our butt and just act out all the time, because our nervous system, that's not sustainable. I don't think that's a sustainable model for us. So I think we need to be conscious about how we are pouring into our confidence cup. And the more that we do those courageous actions, the more we just step by step do those things that take courage, that pours into our confidence cup, because we often get the evidence that we need from doing those courageous acts that pour into that confidence cup. So I think it's really important to gather all evidence that you possibly can, just from a day-to-day interactions with people that you love, that compliment you about your work, or that compliment you about your overall, like your overall just being. They tell you what you're good at. Testimonials fall into this, right? People often say like, "Oh my God, you're so gifted at this one thing." Like anything and everything. Yes, Rebecca, and say thank you. Don't brush it off. Absolutely. And that also goes so well with this analogy of like the confidence bank account and jar, right? Because if someone wants to pay you, we're not going to say no, right? That's not what we're here to do. We're not here to turn away good money. If people want to pay us, we're going to say thank you, and we're going to cash it in, right? Because we did the work. And it's so similar with confidence. We did the actions first. We were courageous first. And now we're gathering the evidence that we can put into our bank account, our confidence bank account. So please let me know if this is resonating, because confidence is very much an energetic exchange. And that goes the other way too, that people buy from people who are in their confidence. And I don't want this to make anyone feel like nervous or self-conscious about, oh, I wasn't confident, so, or I'm not feeling confident, so no one, don't go down a rabbit hole. Okay. It's just a good thing to keep in mind that confidence does go both ways. It comes into your bank account, but then also other people really feed off of it as well. And it really helps to establish that like, know, and trust factor. Okay. So one thing that I do is I've found a way to capture and collect love notes and testimonials and things that people have given me or offered me. And I keep those, like, for example, mine, I keep it as a highlight on my Instagram, because it's really easy to put it to my stories and then save it to the highlight. And they're there for me, but they're also there for other people to witness as well. And that's like, it's such a beautiful way to showcase yourself and like celebrate yourself, because that's such a huge part of confidence too, is to celebrate your damn self. And this is a big part of how I do my work, is I need to be celebrating people all the time, because we do some dope shit and we do not celebrate ourselves nearly enough. And that often comes from us having super high expectations of ourselves and always pushing a goalpost away further and saying, and it's basically telling yourself like, okay, but what I accomplished maybe isn't enough, so I need to do more in order to be worthy of celebrating. And that's not going to fly here. Okay. That's not going to fly in the Cunty coaching realm. Okay. We need to be celebrating ourselves no matter what is big or small, because I guarantee you, what you think is small is some mediocre white man's great. Okay. So like, please, for the love of God, celebrate your damn selves. What did Rebecca say? I still have compliments from clinic that patients would send me. I'd copy and paste into a Word document and add it to my resume file. Yes. Yes. So whether this goes with our conversation that we had before recording, but like, if you're a digital person, go digital. But if you're a manual person, you can also do something like a jar where you write little love notes or little milestones down and put it in, that you have to look back at it though. Okay. Promise me that you'll look back at these things, because the important thing is to actually go back and reinforce your confidence with the evidence that you've collected. Right? So what gets measured gets managed. Have we heard that saying before? It often goes with money, but I'm going to apply it to confidence as well. If we don't look at our evidence, if we don't take a look at our own confidence level, it's not going to grow. How is it going to grow if we're not paying any attention to it, right? This is something that we have to be really intentional and delicious about, just like we are with our money. We have to be just as much, like put just as much care into our confidence as well. Because it's not something, I don't think confidence is something that you can just achieve and then you just have it forever. I really don't think that that's a real thing. I think confidence is a muscle, just like courage. So similar to courage, it is a muscle. We have to keep like nurturing it. So I don't know if that's a muscle then. I don't know. But it's something that we have to keep nurturing in order for it to grow and even stay the same. Because if we don't nurture it, it won't just stay the same. It will actually backtrack, right? Because we're growing humans. We need to grow and keep moving up and forward. So let me know so far if you have any questions. In full transparency today, like my mind is a little bit foggy. I'm in my cycle now. So I'm like doing my best, showing up as a real ass human. We don't, show up in the same energy every single day, but I am here for you all and here to celebrate you and grow this confidence. Yay. And this is part of the confidence too, right? Is just proving to ourselves that we can. And it takes courage to show up at first, but then, that's showing us that we can do hard things, even if we feel like, I don't want to do it today, or that's not what I felt. I do want to do it today. But like, if we feel some kind of resistance, showing ourselves that we can do it despite the resistance. And on that same vein, of course, if the resistance is like mega high, I am not in the business of like telling you to hustle your brains out until, the cows come home. That's not what I'm here to do. And I make that really clear because I think resistance is something to be like, get curious about. Like we talked about yesterday in curiosity, like we can get curious about it as it's building and see like, is there a way I can do this a little bit easier or simpler? Am I making this more complicated than it needs to be? But if the resistance is straight up like you literally feel like you're pushing a boulder up a hill, I think we can just take a break and take a step back and it's going to be okay, right? So I'm not telling you that you have to sacrifice everything in order to like grow your confidence and grow your courage. Sometimes it's beautiful to take a break and rest and then come back to it tomorrow or whenever. So just needed to say that. I think another thing to keep in mind is to watch out for sneaky broke ass decisions. And this is the broke ass decisions is from the Hello 7 world, but I'm using that because I'm a certifying Hello 7 coach. But I think we need to be super mindful of when these might be creeping up and how they might be sabotaging us and taking out of our confidence bank. Like if we were talking about before I hit record about like, hiring help or a VA or someone that can help take things off your plate. If you can do something that can help you gain energy, time, resources back, that's a $1 million decision. That's not a bad, a broke ass decision. But if we're doing something that robs you of time, energy, resources, then that takes you away from time spent in your actual zone of genius. And when you're not spending enough time in your zone of genius, that's when your confidence can take a hit because you're doing things that are in other zones, whether it's straight up incompetence or competence or fine, you can spend some time in your zone of excellence. I'll allow it. But if you like, the more time you can spend in your zone of genius, doing things that light your soul on fire, that make you feel like you're doing good in this world, make you feel like you're connecting with the people you want to be connecting with, and it's flowing, that directly funnels into your confidence tank. Let me know in the chat or come off mute or whatever if you have any like story about this or any feedback in this regard, like this relationship between time spent in your zone of genius and confidence level. Let me know if this is resonating or if you have any questions as well. Rebecca.
Well, I'm still riding the high of yesterday, Naomi, because
Yay!
like you have no idea how much you enabled in my life yesterday. Because like
Yes.
I couldn't get to work. I was like, okay, I'm like 2 hours late to work, but I'm 7 minutes early for Naomi. And
Aw.
then it turned into like, I'm gonna do this thing I've been avoiding and
Mhm,
just brain vomit it, something that's definitely in my zone of genius that no one else can do. Because I
mhm,
have a human waiting to help me package it because I don't like
mhm.
packaging shit up. Like make it
Yes.
look pretty and edit it for me. And then
Yes.
it turned into like I did that thing, like I'll do one more thing.
Hmm.
And then I did the thing
Okay.
that I have to do that I really, really didn't want to do.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, I was like, I feel so good. I still have energy, which is weird
Yay.
because this is a lot of exhausting brain things.
Yeah.
But I know, especially when I was in all of my practicing before I had a medical degree, it was the I abided by fake it till you become it. Because in the
Mm.
beginning, you're not afraid to admit you don't know everything and you can tell
Right.
patients that. And then
Hmm.
once you're in practice like 10 years, it's like, well, I know everything, you know, nothing, even though the rule book was written by like literal old white men in their 70s. Like those are the people who wrote the medical textbooks.
Yeah.
Um, so, yes, I need today. And we'll see
I
what I do today. But there will be more rest in my day as well.
Yes. Yes. I'm so proud of you that you took the energy and you got into your zone of genius and you did that and you directly funneled that into your confidence tank. I love that so much. And that just like fills my entire heart to see you beaming from that. And then you shared that experience in like the entrepreneurs group. Like that all has a domino effect and it leads right into your confidence tank. So I'm so proud of you and I can't wait to see
Yeah.
you continue to build that, right? Because that's what we were saying before is that like confidence is like this this hungry stomach. Right? Like I'm all about analogies. Like I just like to that helps me process information. So confidence is this like we have to keep feeding it. It's this like thing that it's this wellspring that we need to keep feeding and keep pouring into and it will in turn keep us nourished. It will pass all the nutrients that we need to us, but we do need to keep pouring into it. So if that helps, I have a medical background too. So for me, like anatomy and all this stuff, like that's how my brain works. I know some people probably are like, what the fuck? I'm like totally nerding out right now. Um, but yeah, this is so I love talking about this and I love talking about like the differences between courage and confidence because they are different. They have similarities, but they are different. Courage is like what you just said about, in the beginning, you know that you don't know it all, but you show up and you put your hat in the arena anyway. You say like, I trust myself enough to just put myself out there. And like I said on day 2, like you might fall flat on your face, but it's okay. Like you trust yourself and you're just going to be courageous. And if you fall, you can pick yourself back up and it's going to be okay. And then confidence is what comes after that. After you've done the thing and you're like, I didn't fall flat on my face. I did okay. I actually helped that person. I actually did that. Right. So I love how these things all play into each other. And I just love seeing them play out for you. Yay. Another thing that I've started to talk about as well. Oh, I don't know if I finished the broke ass decisions one. Did I? I don't even know. My brain is so foggy today, y'all. It's crazy.
No, finish broke ass decisions. You didn't finish it.
Okay, thank you. Love it. Thank you. Thanks for keeping me on track. I appreciate you. So, when we spend time doing things that are robbing us of our energy, our joy, our money, our time, how like there's just no way that that can possibly fill our confidence tank. Like it just doesn't make sense, right? We might think and this like no one does broke ass decisions on purpose. They're always things that we kind of it's like old patterns or things that we slip into or people pleasing. I know that happens a lot for me because I've been socialized with a lot of people pleasing tendencies. So that's where a lot of like my broke ass decisions come from, for example. And when I catch them, I'm like, I can see that, okay, that didn't do anything for my confidence. It didn't do anything for my bank account. It didn't like do anything. It just kind of took away. So we have to be really mindful of that and really conscious of that. And another thing, like, for example, as a neurodivergent person, and I know like we talked a little bit about this before the start of the call too, it's easy to have that squirrel brain and that like shiny object syndrome. And we have to be really mindful because those can also fall into the broke ass decision category. And then we might think that they're moving the needle, but really, if they're not pouring into our confidence jar, if they're not pouring into our bank account, then is it really $1 million decision or is it a broke ass decision? So these are just things we need to be super mindful of. And I write these down into my weekly money date. I make a point to like reflect on $1 million decisions I've made this week, broke ass decisions I've made this week, and it's a zero judgment space. This is like so important to have so much love and compassion and grace for ourselves because we're not robots. We're not perfect. We have like we're in a human experience, and there's always going to be things that, okay, yeah, maybe I could have done that better, or I could have established a boundary there and not gone down that rabbit hole, or whatever it needs to be. So I highly recommend to like actually try and pay attention to the broke ass decisions and any like mind trash that tries to come up, because those will definitely rob from your confidence tank. Another thing that is very similar to what we were just talking about is this: we need to drop the superhero cape and stop thinking that we need to do it all. And Rebecca, your story there, like it illustrates this perfectly, that you were able to do your zone of genius, and you asked for help from someone who could offload from you some of the things that aren't your zone of genius, like the actual like creation or implementation or whatever that is called, the like operation side of it. And you can drop that cape that says like, oh, I can do it all, because you'd think that that would pour into our confidence cup, but really it's sneaky and it doesn't, because it's really hard to do everything ourselves and it usually undermines our confidence. It's so weird. It's very weird because we think that the more we do, the more we can do on our own, the more badass we are. And yes, we are badasses, but like at some point, like the stack is just, it's going to fall, like, and that's going to erode our confidence. And that's going to like really undermine the foundation and the structure that we're making for ourselves. So I think it's really important to ask for help. And that can actually pour into the confidence jar a lot, because as we start to prove to ourselves that like, I can delegate, and like, I empowered that person to take on that task, and that's really moving my needle forward, and that's allowing me to spend more time in my zone of genius. Like, this is all kind of adding to the confidence jar, and it shouldn't take out, because by you delegating or offloading something or outsourcing something, it's not saying anything negative about you. But we hold this story in our minds, right? As people who have been socialized to overperform and do it all and like bear all of these burdens and these like mental loads that we have been taught to take on. We sometimes have this story in our heads that if we're not able to do it all, then we are failing, or we're not strong enough, or something along those lines. And it's just simply not true. It's like, it's bullshit. Rebecca said, drop that shit. That sucks my soul, my time, and I don't need to learn how to do it. Delegate. Yes, 100%. An example from my life, if I can share, or my business, is in starting my podcast. I've had a couple people come to me already and say, oh my God, you're so like, you're a superhuman. How are you doing this all? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not a superhuman. I have help, and I'm I'm not afraid or ashamed to say that. My partner is a podcast editor and he is helping me with like all of it. And that allows me to keep this whole thing running and growing and keep me in my zone of genius and keep me sharing my energy. Because guaranteed, if I tried to do all of the podcast like editing and like all that shit myself, there would not be a podcast and my confidence would not be where it is. I would be beating myself up that I'm not showing up, I'm not connecting with people enough, etc., etc., etc. So I hope this is making sense. I know for me, this one is like a little bit tricky. I think also just because we've been told so many stories about what confidence, thanks for the heart, what confidence is, what it means, how it plays out. And I really wanted today to kind of tease these stories apart and dive into them a little bit, of course, because I'm the CUNTY coach. Of course, I'm going to do that. Does anyone have any questions so far or any comments or anything that they want to add or contribute about confidence so far? Let me know, drop it in the chat or come off mute, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to make sure that I am not missing anything. Another thing I'm going to say as I wait. Oh, can you speak to self-care to develop courage? Oh, confidence. Self-care to develop confidence. I can speak to this actually. So I think, and on my page, I called it doing the lame work. I think it's like kind of boring and lame, you know, to actually write down like a lot of the limiting beliefs, the mind gremlins. Sunny, I know you call them like mind weasels. There's so many ways we can call them. These little sneaky tapes that run in our minds in the background that if we're not careful, they can actually like drive the bus, right? They can kind of direct us to take certain actions or stay in inaction. So I think part of self-care, to be honest, is to write them down and do the work of that critical and curiosity that we talked about yesterday with those mind gremlins, and then actually reframe them for yourself and bring and dig up some of that evidence that you have to negate some of those thoughts, because a lot of times those mind gremlins don't have actual factual evidence. They are like bullshit stories that are in our heads. Sunny, hi. I don't know if you want to add something.
Yes, I thought that self-care question was so great because I think, at least in my experience, it definitely ties into the confidence, right? Like
Yeah.
boundary setting, big one, right? Big form of
Mm-hmm.
self-care. And when I've set boundaries, especially ones that are scary, right, with like family or
Yes.
things like that, or like leaving certain relationships, there's
Mm.
something about it that I'll leave like, oh shit, I'm such a bad bitch. I said that, you know? And there's like a
Yes.
confidence that comes from that sort of care or
Yeah.
like saying no, right? Like I had, an event this weekend that was great and I loved it, but then I got overstimulated, right? And as much as I love the crowd that I was with, I was like, I really have to go. And then I just went, spent time by myself, and it felt great to be like, oh my God, I can still do that, right? And so that like added to the confidence of like, look at me taking care of myself, you know? And so
Yes.
I think they go hand in hand.
Oh my God. I love that so much. That is so good. And I'm going to even go further with this thread. I'm going to pull this thread a little bit more. When has anyone in this room ever either bought from someone or someone has bought from you when that person was so cunty in their boundaries and they were so self-care and like confident, because yeah, they do go so well together, and this person was like just so secure in what their boundaries were, and it's like, oh shit, I want to work with this person because this person is clearly like knows what they're gonna do and what they're not gonna do, and it makes me feel like more safe and kind of like know what I'm doing in this scenario. Hey, Carol. We're currently talking about the juxtaposition of boundaries, self-care, and confidence. It's juicy. We're loving it. So It's so powerful. What did someone say? Rebecca, all the basics that entrepreneurs forget is baseline important. It feels lame. Like we ain't got time for that. Yeah. Like to actually do some of that reflection work. It feels like I don't have time for this, but it's actually what's going to like create such a strong foundation for us on a day-to-day basis. Because if we let those mind gremlins run rampant in the background, they will create havoc. Even if it's like it's going to be subconscious, but they're going to do some work, and we need to acknowledge them, bring them into the forefront and deal with them. And that's a huge act of self-care for ourselves. And then yes, the clear boundaries. Oh my God. I know for a fact, like when I come into contact with someone who has the clear boundaries, I just love it so much. And I'm like, where do I sign? Where, like, take my money. I want it. I want to give you my money. Like, it's just like so good. And on a personal note, when Sunny and I are like voice noting and she's in her confidence, right? And like they are just in their element, they're like living with their boundaries and their joy and their confidence, it just lights me up so much to see the people that I love to have those boundaries and that confidence as well. So another act of self-care, Rebecca, because that's such a good question and I'm not jumping off that question yet, is the squad piece, right? So like making sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who want to see you win, because that will directly fuel our confidence, right? If people are here cheering us on and giving us the flowers and being like, you can do this, you got this, that's going to like really, really pour into our confidence bank, right? Sometimes we need to borrow some confidence. Like today, I was feeling a little bit like all over the damn place. And I was telling Sunny, I'm like, I would really love, and again, this is the asking for help piece and squad. So I doubled up on this and I was like, I would really love if you joined today, because Sunny got their own stuff going on too. And I get that. I was just like, I would really love if you could jump on today with me, because I'm just like, I'm a little bit all over the place and I would really just love to have your energy and just see your face there. And so that really helped me to step into this confidence that I know that I have, but sometimes we just need our squad, right? Carol said, asking for help is so vulnerable. It feels vulnerable. And Carol, I know what you're saying. It feels more vulnerable for us who have been, all right, we'll see you, Tina. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. It feels vulnerable, especially when we have been socialized, like I said before, to wear the superhero cape. So I don't know, Carol, if you were here when I was talking about that, but we've been socialized that like we need to be able to do things ourselves. We, the more we do, the better we are, or like the better people we are, or like the more what's that word, like, oh, you're such a superhuman, you're so like you've got all your ducks in a row, and it just puts so much pressure on us that it can actually erode our own confidence, because we might be dropping balls, we might be feeling like, actually I feel like I'm failing at everything because I'm trying to keep all these balls in the air. So actually it's eroding that confidence. So absolutely, it is so necessary. We do need to get more comfortable with asking for help 100%, because when we give up that superhero cape, take it off a little bit, ask our community for help, ask our squad who loves us and wants to see us win for help, or offload or outsource, however we can, delegate, then that's going to grow our confidence that we can do this. It literally shows us that actually I can do it. Because sometimes when we're trying to be a superhuman, I don't know about you, but I feel like, oh my God, I can't do this. This is crazy. Like, this is just too much, right? But then when you have the help and you have the support, it's like, okay, this is doable. We can do this. We're doing it. We're doing it. And then it builds. It's so interesting how it's like, for me, it's a mind fuck, because it feels opposite. It feels like it should be the other way around. Like, oh, but you know, if we're being like a superhero, wouldn't that make us feel super confident? But it's actually not true. It's bullshit. Rebecca, I have always hated asking for help. As a doer, it's hard. I've never asked for help so much in my life until the last year. And people want to help. You just have to ask. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know it's vulnerable to ask for help, like Carol said, and it's hard, you know, as we've put on these mantles, right? A doer or super mom or you know, like solopreneur, right? There's so many terms that we put on and we wear them with pride. We wear them with like this badge of honor. Human giver syndrome. Absolutely, Jen. Thank you for tossing that in. That's absolutely right. We have this thing that, oh, the more we give, the better we are. And it's just not true. We need to receive as well. And that was a really powerful conversation that Sunny and I also had about like just the ability to receive and the way that that can also fuel your confidence as well. I'm so proud of you, Rebecca, for asking for help this much in the last year. And look at you, like you're doing the things and you're growing, and it's not a coincidence. And thank you for proving my point. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We have fun here, y'all. I'm having so much fun. I hope y'all are having fun. I really am. And I'm so fucking grateful that I can cultivate like this amazing community of folks who are down to CUNTY-fy our lives together and our businesses and like just grow our impact and scale our impact and just be like just fucking badasses. I'm so proud of everybody. Sunny said it's especially harmful for the person looking up to you. Absolutely. People like, you know, they might feel like there's no way I can do that. So why am I even going to try? Right. And like, this is such a big reason why I started the podcast and why I was like on a mission to call it like the realness, right? Because we need to be sharing the realness. We need to be telling people like, look, I'm not a solopreneur. I have help. This is not a one pony show. Like, because the more we try to put on this facade of like, oh, I'm so successful and I'm doing this all on my own, the more it's like, it's degrading and the people who want to do it too are like counting themselves out before they've even stepped in the arena. We need to be more honest and more real about like what it actually takes to be on this journey and to grow these missions and to grow our impact and take off the fucking cape. Okay. If you have one takeaway today, it's gotta be take off the fucking cape. Okay. I love you all. So I really want to reiterate and go back to the phrase that I said at the beginning, because I just feel like I wish someone had told this to me. Actually, Carol said something. Setting others up for failure because they don't know the backstory sets unrealistic expectations. 100%. 100%. How many people in this room have heard like a rags to riches story about entrepreneurship and it was like, oh my God, I can do that. I can be an overnight sensation. I'll just do like one viral post and it'll be great. I'll make millions. It's like, no, that's not real. That's not like a realistic expectation. And that's not like a sustainable business model. Like, is that even what we want to be going for? And if that's what you want to go for, like, I'm here for you too. I'm not judging you. But we need to know the actual, like the full backstories of everything and how the whole ecosystem plays out, right? Like that transparency and that like openness and that realness. I think all of this can pour right into the confidence cup. The more honest we can be, I know this plays out for in my life too. I'm an open book. I am honest. I am like honestly myself. I'm never trying to like pretend I'm something I'm not. And I think that's where a lot of the confidence comes from too, is like, I'm not trying to be something. And I would love to hear if you all resonate with this and like how just being your damn self and being honest about that and just like doing the damn thing day after day and just being yourself, how that has like poured into your confidence cup. Let me know if that resonates or if I'm like off base with that. I know it's hard. Like authenticity is a big one in our world today, a big issue that a lot of people are wanting to dig into more. And I'm totally here for it. And I'm totally here to help with that. That's definitely like a big part of the Cunty model. So I understand if it feels like maybe you're not connected 100% to your authenticity, or if something's getting in the way, I 100% get it. But I know for me, that and confidence have like tied beautifully together. So I want to go back to the phrase that I said earlier, which was courage is enacted, confidence is earned. And what I mean by that is that courage comes first and it's action based. You don't have to be confident first. You don't have to know everything about something. You don't have to know all the steps. You don't have to like have that fake it till you make it confidence. You just have to be courageous enough to like put your name in the hat, or like put yourself out there and ask for the sale, or ask for what your value, and just like ask for what you need and just put yourself out there. That's courage, and that's enacted. Confidence is not just an action-based thing. It comes after, but first you have to enact the courage, and then you earn the confidence. The confidence is in the evidence, and it goes right into that confidence jar that I want everybody to be nourishing and nurturing on a daily basis, because you all are incredible. You're doing incredible work. And we really need to make sure that we're pouring into that cup of confidence. And that is so well tied to self-care. Like Rebecca said earlier, that was such a great point, and that Sunny also contributed to 100%. I think that is what I have for today. If anyone has any other questions, comments, or any little stories or anything to contribute or add or ask in regards to confidence, let me know. Drop it in the chat, or come off mute, or drop it in the comments if you're on IG, because this is a big one today. So I just want to give a little bit of space to ask questions if you need to, and I'll give you a minute. Sunny, come through.
Hi, boo.
Hi.
Okay, so I really appreciate your take on the fake it till you make it, because that's been my like go-to for ages, right? And what Rebecca said of like the fake it till you become it. And I'm still for it, but I really love the context that you added, right? Because I have fucked up my nervous system time and time again, especially in the entrepreneurship journey, right? There's like yes, this is who I am. And it's an identity shift, but I tend to have this tendency of, because I do the fake it till you make it, I like throw myself into things like full on, and I still don't know how to exist otherwise, right? But there's like a need to like take those baby steps, right? And so I think for me, it's like I could still do the fake it till you make it, but maybe it don't gotta be like over here faking it. Maybe it could just be this next thing, right? Because like for things like maybe I'm scared to go to a meeting that feels scary, but it's something I know I need to go to, right? The fake it till you make it is kind of like a you belong here, get to that space, right? But if it's like make 30K this month, like bitch, if you haven't done it before, if you haven't made 10K, why the fuck would I put that on myself, right? And so like that kind of shit has really fucked with my nervous system, because it's like I'll be like, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. And so I really appreciated your take on like, no, that's not what gets you confidence, because it sets you up, right? If I didn't make it, then I will be all fucked up from it and going like, I guess I couldn't, right? And it's like setting me all the way back.
Yes. Absolutely, that part, right? Like if it doesn't work out the way we thought it would, it's like if we didn't do the work of taking the baby steps as well, the slide back it goes way back, right? Whereas like if we've done the work to kind of build up and take those baby steps along the way, then if something doesn't work out, we're probably not going to slide all the way back down. We're going to go back a bit, maybe. I hope not, but it's not going to be as big of, whoops. This happens every time, but it's okay. We're not going to get mad about it. And there was something else I wanted to say too, because there's nothing wrong with what you just said, Sunny, with the fake it until you become it or make it. I think that falls really well into the courage category, with the example that you gave, right? So like showing up to the thing, putting on the clothes, buying the plane ticket, buying the conference ticket, like doing the thing that you know you need to do, but it feels scary. Yes, there is a certain amount of like self-coaching and like, what would I call it? Like Sasha fiercing your way into something, like giving yourself that confidence boost that you need. But I still think that's part of the courage piece. That's just doing what we need to do to take the action. And then I think confidence comes after we've done the thing. So I think that fake it till you make it might be disguising as like finding the courage to do the thing. My confidence at work isn't lacking, and I've learned so much from all of the experiences that I've thrown myself without having the experience. I gained the experience I needed just for doing it. Absolutely. Like you did the thing. You did the courageous thing, Carol, to like put yourself in those experiences and learn by doing. That's huge. That is absolutely how you grow. And that pours directly into your confidence cup. So I will die on this hill that courage is an action, and it's what you need to do to just get yourself in the room, in the ring, out there, whatever you need to call it. But I still don't think it's faking it, because faking it implies that you don't have it, right? Faking it implies that you're putting on some kind of like a mask, or you're like it's something fictitious, right? But I think it's courageous that you're digging deep into yourself and you're pulling out something that it is within you, or else you wouldn't be going, I think. Like you have what you need, you have what it takes, and the courage is just doing the thing and believing in yourself and pulling out what you already have within you to do. A lot of times we have that gut instinct already of like, I need to be in that room. So then courage is literally just doing the thing, right? So I love the complexity of this, like the fake it till you make it thing, and kind of dissecting it a little bit and adding some to it. So thank you also, Sunny, for bringing that up. Very important. It's a very important discussion. We're not here just to like put on masks and like be fake. I think we have what we need inside us. And I think that's going to lead us to our biggest transformations, is like tapping into what we already have within us, doing the thing, and then putting that right into our confidence cup. Cause it's like, I didn't fake shit. I had that. That was in there. I just needed to nurture that and do the thing. And it was in me, and I have it. And now I get to cash that in. Oh my gosh. I love it. All right. I appreciate you all so, so much. This, as always, has been so fun. I am loving this challenge so much, even though like I'm not my best, fullest self today. I loved showing up in my humanity, in my realness, and I had a fucking ball with you all discussing confidence and courage and how they're different, how they're similar, how confidence is like a hungry stomach that needs to be fed. This has been an absolute blast. So if no one else has any questions or comments or concerns, then we're going to sign off. Tomorrow is day 5. So tomorrow marks the halfway point. Tomorrow, we are also moving into the next phase because we've been on phase 1. This is from the workbook. I didn't print it in color, which is like, why did I? Oh, wait, this one is in color. There you go. So phase 2 is unfuck yourself. So that's going to be really fun. So tomorrow we're going into unapologetic, and I'm so excited because that one's so fiery and fun. They're all fiery and fun. Let's be real. It's cunty. It's cunty. So let me know if you can join tomorrow, and I will see you there. If you want this workbook is, if you sign up for the challenge, this was disseminated in the email, but let me know if you need me to resend it to you or whatever you need. And also let me know if you need the sign up for the challenge link. But other than that, I love you all so very much, and I will see you soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a good one.